Okay, so first of all, would you like to tell us what your role in the exhibition is?
I've had the pleasure of curating this exhibition, working really closely alongside Renzo Piano and his team in Genoa and Paris. And it's been an amazing dialogue over a process of about 2 years that he's been intensely involved in, given so much time, energy, thought, and I hope that kind of his spirit and presence is entirely in this show.
Brilliant. And can you talk us through the exhibition itself?
So we've got 16 of his projects that date back from what he calls his prehistory, so some really early projects before the Pompidou Centre, when he came to London. The Pompidou, older ones from the sort of 70s, 80s, right up until 2 projects which are currently on site. And they range all across the world. So far reaches, we've got different typologies. So there's some art galleries, cultural centres, an airport, a hospital. It's a real mix of projects. And at the heart of the exhibition, there is what he calls the island, and it brings together 102 projects that he and his practice have created and have been built, all at 1 to 1,000 scale. So they're a wonderful kind of way of looking and comparing how the buildings look. They're different sizes, and then surrounding that is 16 photographs by a beautiful Italian photographer who's been following Renzo's work since the 70s, and also some really nice personal moments in there catching his life, and completed by a film which we've commissioned, which takes visitors to his lovely studio in Genoa, to Paris, and to a couple of building sites, and you hear from the man himself.
Fantastic. And what do you think makes his work so unique?
I think what's wonderful about his work is you don't see a building and think, that's a Renzo Piano building. There's something in its spirit that you understand, but it's not always, its form isn't always the same. And I find they're surprising. People know something like the Shard. They come in and they see the new Mia building, which is made out of these tall timber cases which kind of dot around a landscape. And for me, it's a sort of surprise. And the other thing is that he's always about kind of thinking about architecture, defying gravity. It's about lightness. It's about celebrating the beauty of construction. So when you come into the show, your eye is drawn up to these amazing models that surround us. And they kind of really evoke the essence of what he's about. It's about making buildings for people. Brilliant.
And do you have a favourite?
No. I think there's buildings that I didn't know. I think probably my favourite thing is the fact there's things I didn't know about as much about, and it's been a lovely thing of digging into the archive, and we've got some of his original drawings and sketches and models. So it's not just the projects that I love. I think it's some of the material that really excites me that just hasn't been seen by people before. There's nothing like it, getting up close to this sort of stuff.
And finally, what do you hope people take away from this exhibition?
I hope people will appreciate the work of somebody they might know and understand where it comes from, but also the importance of architecture in our lives and how it can transform cities and places and kind of raise the human spirits. So I hope it's one thing about Renzo, but secondly, understanding about how vital architecture is to all of our lives.